the Subwarden of St. Thomas's College, Reverend Mark Villamoria, Teacher in charge of St. Thomas's College, Ms. Tarangi Lancon, the teachers in charge of Bishops College, Ms. Vimali Pereira, Ms. Randima Patirana, and Ms. Arosha De Silva, and also the President of the ICT Society of St. Thomas's College, Sugit Atlugama, and the President of the ICT Society of Bishops College, Kurlin Jayachandran, to light the oil lamp.
Invite the President of the ICT Society of St. Thomas's College, Sukit Atulugama, and the President of the ICT Society of Bishops College, Kurlin Jayachandran, to speak a few words.
Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Sanat Jayasena, our guest speaker, Mr. Siddhartha Nanekar, Subboard of St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia, Reverend Mark Villamoria, Vice Principal of Bishops College, Mrs. Shemali Hera, invited guests, teachers, parents, invited students, and our fellow Bishopians and Thomians.
Welcome to Experience IT at Informatique 14. Informatique is organized to break out the mundane and present you an IT day that will provide you the opportunity to experience some of the latest developments in the field of technology and witness an IT day where your knowledge will be put to test, your questions answered, and will leave you inspired.
On behalf of Informatique, I consider it a great privilege to welcome the dignitaries one by one. We are honored with the presence of our chief guest, Professor Sanat Jayasena, from the Computer Science and Engineering Faculty of University of Moratuwa, and our guest speaker, Mr. Siddhartha Nanekar, founder of Sky Alliance Private Limited.
A hearty welcome to Subwarden of St. Thomas's College, Reverend Mark Villamoria, and to the Vice Principal of Bishops College, Mrs. Shemali Hera, who are presided here to crown the glorious event.
I am pleased to invite Mr. Nisanga Varnapura and Mr. Amalan Dhananjaya, who brought the two latest technologies to this premises to educate and share their experience with us.
We have here Mr. Asita De Silva, Praveen De Silva, whom are managers in Group Marketing Dialogue at Axiata PLC, and Mr. Rohan Jayavira, the Sri Lankan country consultant for Google, amidst us. Their presence here is really valuable. On behalf of all assembled here, I extend heartfelt welcome to our dignitaries.
A warm welcome goes to all the past presidents and committee members of ICT societies of both schools, whom lent us their helping hand, even though they were out from the college.
My word of welcome goes next to all the invitees, the parents, the vibrant students, Thomians, Bishopians, for being present here today to experience IT.
We would like to end with a quote by Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Facebook, which shows us what Informatique aspires to do.
Our goal is not to build a platform.
It is to be across all of them. Thank you.
Now we cordially invite the Subwarden of St. Thomas's College, Reverend Mark Villamoria, to deliver his address.
Our chief guest this afternoon, Professor Sanat Jayasena. Our guest speaker, Vice Principal of Bishops College, Mrs. Shemali Herath, teachers of both schools and of visiting schools, and students. Sukit, I will have to see you in my office tomorrow to answer the question why I was not told I have to speak. It's quite a surprise. but nevertheless, I consider it a great joy to be with you and to represent our warden, Professor Indra De Souza, who is out of the country on official work at this event this afternoon. It's a privilege to do so because certainly for St. Thomas's, the ICT Society has been contributing a great deal over the past year, and we are very grateful to them for all that they do in the life of the school. For those who may not be aware, the ICT Society has given the lead in the construction, if that's the right word to use, of a number of websites for the college, for clubs and societies, and even the college website, the new college website, has been designed and constructed by the ICT club with absolutely no assistance from any professionals. The warden and I have been privileged to and greatly humbled to watch the way these young lads have taken the challenge and constructed and designed some excellent websites. And we're very proud of them and we're very proud of their achievements, and I congratulate them as well as the club of Bishops College for the joint venture that they have embarked on this afternoon. ICT and the whole world of computing is still new to me. I can just get round Word and perhaps go over the net and send an email or two, but I'm clueless about some of the technologies involved. And so it's all the more humbling to see the way young boys and girls are so involved in this world of ICT and computing and internet and all this technology that goes with it. But at the same time, as an educator, one of the things that we are constantly battling and one of the things that we seem to have to deal with quite a bit is the bad side, if you like, of this wonderful technology. I notice Father Amal, our associate chaplain, has given a message in the souvenir, and he has given a quotation from General Omar Bradley. And it's a very powerful quotation because I think that illustrates for us the two sides of what we are talking about today. It says, if we continue to develop our technology without wisdom or prudence, our servant may prove to be our executioner. I think that's a very powerful saying. And certainly in today's context, we know, if we have seen the news over the last couple of weeks, the potential of the internet both to give hope and dreams and life, but at the same time to destroy life as well. And so when we look at the world of technology, when we look at the world of ICT, we have to be aware, we have to constantly remind ourselves that there is a dark side. And just as much as we celebrate the good things, just as much as we use the good things and the positive things, we need to be constantly aware of the dark side, where this technology which is meant to serve us may one day prove to be our executioner. So with that, having said that, I won't take your time. I'm not the guest speaker this afternoon. I won't preach a sermon to you, but I'm thankful to the ICT clubs of both these prestigious schools, brother and sister school, that have a long tradition of doing things together. I'm glad that they have taken this initiative, and I'm sure that in the future too we will have a number of joint ventures at different levels. So thank you, boys and girls, and thank you to all those who have joined to make this event a success. Esto Perpetua, and God bless you all.
Thank you, sir. We kindly invite the Vice Principal of Bishops College, Ms. Shamali Hera, to address the gathering.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Miss Shamali. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, girls. Like Father Billy Moria said, I will see you in my office soon after. Sub-Warden Father Mark Billy Moria, Chief Guest Professor Sanat Jayasena, Guest Speaker Mr. Siddhartha Nanyakara, Invited Speakers, other invitees, teachers in charge of ICT of Bishops College and St. Thomas's, and my dear students. Good afternoon to you all. To the two committees of the respective schools, thank you for inviting me to be a part of this evening. To tell you the truth, just like Father Wilimoria said, you all present here today know much more about ICT than I do. And you have invited many experts on the field to talk about it, so I'm not going to dwell on it at all. I just want to congratulate the teachers and students from both schools for having initiated and organized an event of this nature where this field is so vast and changing every day. It's great to be able to share your talents, your resources and ideas so that you can bring it all together for the benefit of many others. I remember when I finished my A-levels and went to university in the States. That was a long time ago. Yes, I was way ahead of them when it came to my field of study. But I felt so backward when I had to submit all my work on a computer. Today, I know without a doubt that you all can actually teach the West a few things about ICT. Remember that when you go out into the corporate or academic world, aspiring to be leaders, your training has already begun right here in your school. By collaborating and organizing an event such as this and many other activities that you take part in your school, your groundwork has already been done. Schools today give you numerous opportunities and facilities and the freedom to even organize events like this. So my only request of you, just like Father Wilimoria said before me, is that you please use all these wisely. ICT is such a fast-growing industry. We can't stop it, whether for the better or for the worse. And yes, today, even us oldies can't do without it. But please, use it with caution. Use it to improve and develop yourself and your peers and the lives of others. You are intelligent enough. You have the common sense to know, to be cautious and mindful, not to misuse it, and to begin maybe the destruction of your life and maybe another's. So remember, the choice is yours. I wish you all an enlightening and enjoyable afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss. We now have a short trailer for your viewing pleasure. We're sorry, but we seem to be experiencing some technical difficulties. Moving on, we would like to invite the Vice President of the ICT Society of St. Thomas's College, Shimmer Fazil, to introduce the Chief Guest.
Madam Vice Principal, Ms. Shamali Herat, Subwarden, Reverend Mark Wilimoria, distinguished guests, teachers and students. It is an honor and privilege to introduce to you today our Chief Guest, Professor Sanath Jayasena, who is an Associate Professor at the Computer Science and Engineering Faculty at the UOM. Having received his PhD in Computer Science from the University of Illinois, Mr. Jayasena is the author of many books that have been instrumental in the development of ICT among the masses of Sri Lanka. He has contributed towards the Moodle teacher and student manuals, the Firefox, Thunderbird and Joomla user manuals in Sinhala along with various other journals. Thank you, sir, for being with us amidst your busy schedule, and now the stage is open for you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Reverend Bill Moria, Mrs. Sarah, distinguished guests, and all other invitees and dear students. Let me thank you first for everybody who organized this, for having me as the chief guest today. I am honored by this, and also I'm really glad to be here in an event like this. So I think I participated in an event a few months ago like this at a school again. So I really am interested in looking at how students are organizing these kinds of events, and very much interested in taking part in activities like this. So I think I should make a small correction about what was said in the introduction, that I have written so many books. I think it was probably not correct. I have written many research papers. Probably the student who introduced me meant that, not necessarily books, but other things. Yes, I think I'm basically happy that I could contribute that way. So I think today I thought when I asked about the organizers about whether I have to talk, so I have to give a speech. I was told that I am expected to speak about 10 minutes. I was wondering what to say. I think there are a couple of things in this occasion which I can talk about and maybe give some matters for you to think about. One is that the increasingly very important role that ICT plays in our lives. I think there's no way that we can maybe get away from that, as was mentioned, that it's part of us now, and it's part of our lives, everyday lives. From if you are traveling in a vehicle without your knowing, ICT is playing a part of that. Because without your knowledge, now vehicles, almost all modern vehicles come with lots of electronic and computer controls. And those are really helping you for your safety, for your comfort, and lots of other things. And if you turn on the TV or if you use another household appliance, ICTs are there. These are all tiny chips controlling things, monitoring things, and to make basically our lives easier, comfortable, and maybe even give various other benefits. And if you try to do business, these days if you want to buy something, maybe you will search on the web about the prices and various other things, and look for where the various quality of the products, compare prices, qualities, and all these things. And the most interesting thing is that in many of these things, you also can see what others who have done the same thing share their experience with you. And you can, for example, if you want to take a visitor to a restaurant maybe tomorrow evening, and you are wondering whether, okay, how good that is. So it's if it is generally a place that many people would like to visit, chances are that you can find reviews on the web about that restaurant, so you can see what other people say, right? And then even identify some few items from the menu which you might want to consider or try. Right? So I mean, and whenever you might pay your bill with your credit card, and at the end of the month, in order to settle your credit card, you don't have to walk or go to a bank. You can do it online. And one thing I do, I really like. This happened the past maybe 5-10 years. I remember about 10 years ago when I started using credit cards. When I had to settle the bill, I would have to go to the bank myself or get somebody else to pay the bill. But during the last 10 years, we saw many local banks just like many world international banks have gone online, allow you to pay bills online. So it saves a lot of time, and you can do it at whatever time you want. So those are some of the things that have affected our lives in significant ways, and things have changed quite a lot in the way we do things. And when it comes to education, that's also there are lots of changes that are happening because of the World Wide Web and the internet and due to computers. Now, in our faculty, I studied the same university about, I would say, more than 20 years ago. I think definitely before you were born, most of the students born. So at that time, everything was basically teachers. We were interacting directly, of course, but the material were, let's say, hard copy. We had to take down things, but things have drastically changed. We now have educational tools which we use for teaching and learning, programming, and some of the activities, rather than we repeating things to the students, we keep the things on there's something called Moodle, it was mentioned earlier, the educational tool which you can run on the web, and you could put the material there and let the students work on those things at whatever time convenient for them, at their own pace, right? I mean, if you miss something in the class, they can go back and look at it, and submit assignments online, and do so many things. So it enables and empowers students, and better participation and all those. And we as teachers can see how students participate. Everything is logged, and we can see the patterns of, okay, what time students access these things, what students do not access. All these things are recorded, and we can see which students basically need special attention and all that. And not only that, I think many of you, if you don't know, maybe this is something you can try. You as a student are probably now have access to the best teachers in the world on various topics. Now this is a luxury that you have now, something that happened in the last 2-3 years. There are universities and institutions which have world recognition, like MIT in the US, Stanford University, UC Berkeley or Harvard, various places offer free online courses on the web. In most cases, these are university level courses, but ranging from computer science to economics to philosophy and so many things. And many are free for anybody to take. And these online courses are called MOOCs, massive online courses, and sometimes hundreds or thousands of students take this. And in a way it shows that wherever you are, if you have access, you can basically go and learn from them. So that's, I think, a very good thing. So these are all good things, I would say. You should try these things. You can, if you think, for example, now some of you who might sit the O-level or A-level in the next few months or couple of years, after doing the exams, you might have some free time. Now, one thing students do, or our parents might want the students to do, to go to a computer class and learn something. I think if you are fairly okay, if you know the basics, I think my recommendation is go online and find a good online course offered by reputed organizations, universities, and try to follow them. And you will learn a lot. I think there are, for example, it will just maybe even better than sitting in a class because the lectures are recorded, the videos are there, and you can keep on, can follow it over and over again until you understand. And there are lots of assignments you can try out, and there will be community and forums to discuss problems, and there are so many interesting things. So these are all very good things. I think I could recommend you to try out. At the same time, these things bring challenges as well. So one of the things we have seen among Sri Lankan students is that sometimes, in many occasions, we see they have huge potential, but they don't know it. that whether they can do things, they can do world-class things. But now, for example, in our industry, you can definitely do things. I think as an example, I can say a few things that what multiple students have done in the past about 10 years. Now, Google has something called a Google Summer of Code. It's basically a challenge or opportunity for students to take part in a coding exercise, a programming kind of project exercise. And it was started in 2004. And after the first 1 or 2 years, up until now, for the last 7-8 years, the most number of projects were completed worldwide by students in Sri Lanka, by students at Moratuwa. So I think that's a great thing which we can be proud of. And it was instrumental task was due to the inspiration was by Dr. Sanjeev Veeravarna, if you have known him, who runs a company called WSO2 here. So he was basically gave a lot of initiative on this thing, but it has been now carried out. And this year, the Google celebrated the 10th anniversary of the Google Summer of Code, and they visited recently our university, and as a part of that celebration, and they said what they wanted to do was to go around the world to the places where most of the projects were done, and so Sri Lanka was chosen obviously because the last few years worldwide, Moratuwa students did the most number of projects. So that shows, and then these things are actually evaluated and monitored and mentored by top people in the industry in various top IT companies in the world, and the things that students did are world-class things, and these are all open source projects. I think if you don't know open source, I recommend you to go up and look up on the web. So these things, when you do an open source project, it becomes part of the community. You are giving something back to the community, right? So that's the kind of thing that these students have done. And you don't have to do Google Summer of Code to do open source. There are many other open source things available, opportunities available all the time. So one of the things I would recommend anybody who wants to do IT as a career is to start an open source project and contribute something back to the community. Because we are, as always, as scientists used to say, we climb on others' shoulders, and that's how we develop science and technology. So rather than just users of technology, one thing you can do is to contribute back something to the community, to the country, to the community at large. So that's something you should try. And having said all that, I think I should basically touch a little bit on the risks and the challenges. I think both Father Bilimoria and Sarah touched on this. There are some things that we should be careful about. And this basically means, I think the fundamental thing about the bad use of technology is because how much power it gives you. I think computers give a lot of power to people, right? It empowers. But just by a touch of a button, you can create a huge mess. You can spread the virus all throughout the internet, and just because you can, right? So this means you get a lot of power. The problem is how are you going to use that power? I think there's a saying, right? Somebody said that to test somebody's character, you should give power to that person and see what happens. So I think we are all being tested. Just because you can, are you supposed to, is it okay to go and put a bad image on somebody's Facebook page? Or say something bad on somewhere? So I think with power comes huge responsibility. I think that's something everybody should know about. With power comes huge responsibility, so we have to be very responsible in doing what we are doing. So as long as that happens, I think there's no end to our capabilities and things that we can do. And now we are part of the whole world, and the whole world is connected by the internet and technology, and we are part of it. And as I earlier mentioned, you can do anything that anybody else can do. whoever created Google, Microsoft, any other companies, or Facebook, those are very young kids, right, at some certain points. And as I mentioned earlier, our students, young people have shown that they also can do things. But do things with responsibility and with a commitment to serving the community and also doing a business, that's fine. I think I should add that Sri Lanka's now ICT has become the 5th largest export earner. So that's a tremendous thing to have. I think over the last, it was very low some time ago, but I think the ICT industry has a vision of, I think it's about a few billion to reach it, increasing it further and making it to the number 1 in 2025. I think we can do it with all the good minds we have, but we have to do it with the responsible ways. So I hope there are various things people talk about now. Facebook is causing problems and things like that, and even there are people wondering whether Facebook will be blocked and all that. Actually, yesterday there was somebody from the media wanted to interview me over the phone and asked me, what do you think? I said, I don't know, I can't imagine why somebody would want to block Facebook. And if just because somebody is, let's say, using a motorbicycle and doing a robbery, are you going to ban all motorcycles? So, I mean, the problem is with the people. So we have to address that, not with the technology. So, having said that, I think I'll thank you again for inviting me here. I'm happy to be here and watch all the activities in the future. Going to be here the next in the remainder part, and I think it's a great thing that you put together this kind of event, and I think you are going to do it every year, I suppose. So these kinds of things give students opportunity to showcase their talent and try out various things, and I think we should encourage all that. I wish you all the best for this event and all your other activities. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Imagine that you decided to organize your closet, but instead of measuring containers at a store to make sure that they will work, you just go to your office, enter the measurements you want your containers to be, and print them out right there. Now imagine that you have to build a diorama of a famous Civil War battle for a project at school, and you use that same printer to construct all the soldiers, cannons, and trees in perfect detail. And that is the magic of 3D printing. Today, we have with us Ms. Nisanga Varnapura, founder and CEO of 3D Concept Studio, to discuss and show you what 3D printing is all about. Sir, we cordially invite you on stage.
So I just would like to ask a raise of hands to people who have heard about 3D printing before today. Round of hands. Practically everybody. So there is no purpose in me being here today. But second question, round of hands to anybody who has used 3D printing before today. Round of hands. Nobody. Okay? So once these curtains open up fully, yes. Okay. What you're going to see today is a live feed of one of our first-gen machines that we offer in Sri Lanka. We started operations back in September. The name of the company is 3D Concept Studio. Started from my bedroom, just like any good IT story. And my mother was not too happy because she said you're going to inhale all this plastic as you go to sleep and wake up early morning. So we first shifted to a different part of the house and then eventually got kicked out of the house. Okay. So what you're seeing here today is actually an assembled machine, which we have sold quite a few in Sri Lanka. So hopefully you can see. Can everybody see clearly? Hopefully. Let me just open this curtain up a bit more. Hopefully the lights will come on. But let me explain. So this is a first generation machine. It's a dual extruder, so you can actually print 2 colors on this machine. It's assembled, so the frame comes from China, the nozzles come from the US, and we put it together here. And basically using this printer, and as anyone knows, you can print whatever you like. Okay, so I will give an introduction. So here we go, having a look at the printer. It's a very simple technology. It's called additive manufacturing. So a lot of people have heard subtractive manufacturing, which is CNC technologies. This is additive. So imagine something being extruded. So the best example that I've heard so far is a toothpaste tube. Okay, it's extruding toothpaste. So like that, it's extruding hot melted plastic. And as it layers this melted plastic in layers and layers and layers and layers, and I'll be showing a video later on as well. And as you can see here, he's printing a little key tag. It's just building an object in 3D. Okay, so it's a very simple technology. And as you can see, there's an XY plane on top. So the nozzle can move on an XY, as well as the Z-axis is the platform that is going up and down. Okay, so you can actually create anything within that volume space. So this machine is a 9-inch by 6 by 6. So you get 324, 325 cubic inches of build volume. So far using this printer, we've printed a lot of crazy things. Firstly, I don't know who does this, but for Valentine's Day, we get orders for plastic roses. Okay? So something as intricate as this, I don't know if everybody can see this, maybe I should keep it in front of the camera. You can just show this. Okay? So something as intricate as this could be printed on a very basic first generation printer. Now, these are others. This is actually done, let me show this. So you can see the intricate level of a head. This was done for a doll manufacturer who wanted to share this with their customer in Russia to see how the cheekbone and the chin structures look like for real. And after this was finalized, it was sent for mass production. So he was able to do 10 different prototypes to show the customer how it exactly will look like before a mass production was done. That's the advantage of 3D printing. It's called rapid prototyping. You can test anything out, right? So before we jump onto the presentation, just want to share how the machine works a bit more. This is how the raw material arrives for first gen. Okay, this is called a filament reel. Okay, so in this one you get 4 different colors. This is ABS plastic. Okay, so ABS is a very hard plastic. You also get a plastic called PLA. PLA is a biodegradable plastic used by Academy of Design and other textile designers and manufacturers because it has to be biodegradable. And this filament tube is what goes into the machine. It's 1.75 millimeters diameter. It goes into the machine, and like I said, like toothpaste, that extrudes through a 0.4 millimeter nozzle. I don't want to get too technical, but you get very addicted to seeing how printing happens because after about good 15-20 minutes, the print comes out as a solid object. Okay. So, like I said, 3D printing is all about thinking of something, okay, creating it, and then sharing it. Whether you're doing it on a personal level, or whether you're doing it as a consultant or something, or whether you're actually doing it for production. It's all about having an idea and being able to construct it 3D. The reason I like it is because so far as a business, we've got orders through even SMSs, where they say, Nisanga, I want to create a piece of jewelry. This is what I'm imagining, like a star shape. Can you create it in 0.8 millimeters strings? It's a simple text. A SMS can define what you're thinking, and within 24 hours, they get a physical object. So from jewelry, to architecture, to engineering, to great things. Now, we produce the first 3D printed quadcopter chassis, which are flying out to the US. So we have quadcopters flying all over our workshop. So those are all 3D printed. So by doing that, the client actually reduced about 75% of their cost. Okay? So I'd like to take you through that journey. So firstly, let's try to get this idea across to you, right? So let's move on to the video that I have. prices. Okay, so this is, I'm just giving an idea before we take this journey, right? The second one is architectural models. A lot of our customers come and ask me and say, can I get a certain type of staircase done? Can I get a certain type of partition done? Can I get interior design that I've been thinking? With big clients, and they still have no way to fabricate it within a couple of hours. So they come and say, Nisanga, I'll send you a CAD drawing, I'll send you a 2D drawing. Can you make it into 3D? And then can you print it? So within a couple of hours we do that. So I just want to show the intricate detail of this and how it comes about. So if you can play the video for me. That was printed with the interior design as well. So you can actually get the chairs and the tables and the rooms and the partitions and the staircases all printed during that print. Okay? So I think I've explained to a certain extent what 3D printing is, and I would like to take you on this journey now. So move forward. So how does it work? It's very simple. So now you've seen 3D printing, you know what it can do. How does someone get a 3D print done? It's if you move to the next slide. So it's very simple. You have an idea, and at this point, you will either have an idea in a conceptual form, or you will have an idea in a 3D drawing, and those are the two input mechanisms. So either you will have an idea with nothing at all, or you have a 3D drawing from SolidWorks or Maya or Rhino or all these softwares that you can possibly use to make a 3D graphic AutoCAD. Okay? So what we do is, as you can see on my laptop, maybe not everybody can see that, it's running an open source software called Replicator 40G. I know they don't make any nice sounding names, right? So that software helps you slice. So imagine you get a fat piece of cheese. Okay, now you want to print it. The software, all it does is it slices it. And it slices it at layers as thin as 100 micron. Okay, so it slices it as thin as 100 micron, and it feeds it into a 3D printer using a file called X3G. Okay? And that is just given through a SD card or USB cable or whatever. And then when you say print, it just prints it. Okay? So technically you could print whatever you like. So that's as simple as it gets. That's all you need to do. And you can actually go online. There are websites like thingiverse.com. There are websites like Shapeways, websites like Monoco. All these websites, you can go and download any 3D shape that you're thinking of. So for example, you say, I want to print a model of a Ferrari, or I want to print a model of Michelangelo. And all these models exist. There are 3D designers in the world who have uploaded these files for free. And you can go and download this file and get it printed for almost nothing at all. Okay? So I have a teacher who came to me and said, Isanga, I want you to print Mozart. I want to have this Mozart bust shown to students. And she came and she printed a couple of busts just because she wants to show it and she couldn't find it anywhere. Okay, so like that, you can print whatever you like. I mean, I can't really say what you want to print. So going forward, these are the intricate details that you can actually print. A lot of people say 3D printers, you can't print that complex structures, but this is what you can print from a first-gen machine. So right now we have third-gen machines with us, which print multi-materials, something like you can print rubber and plastic at the same time. So you can actually print a mobile phone. Obviously it doesn't work, but you can touch the buttons and it actually is a good touch and feel. And these are characters So the left one, how many people know this left character here? Does everybody know? Nobody. Okay. So this is apparently a local cartoon, and the character's name is Roshan. Okay. I didn't know this. And they sent the character to me, and they wanted to print it to give it to all the guys who work in that cartoon studio. The one on the right-hand side is a character made by a very famous 3D artist in Sri Lanka, and he wanted to print it to keep it on his desk. Okay, so each and every order that we've done has a really nice story to it. And what you can see at the bottom are the 3D files that were used to create that print. And as you can see, the accuracy level is quite high. Okay. How many people know this? Yeah, a lot of people have watched Despicable Me. Fantastic. So this, I don't know why, but in December we printed about 300 of these. Okay. A lot of people asking, Nisaka, can I have a minion? Can I have a Pepe? Can I have it in yellow? Can I have it in blue? Can I have it with the acrylic paint kit so I can give it to my friend? So I said, fine, as long as you buy it from us, no problem. So we are printing a lot of minions. I'm very thankful for that cartoon. Okay. This is another very interesting story. I like to share stories so that you also understand where these concepts and ideas come from, right? So this actually came from a gentleman in Kalavata. He's actually a banyan maker, a vest maker. And he said he's tired of making vests every day. So he wanted to create a product to give it to his friends. He's actually a Pakistani. He wanted to give it to his friends who are in the IT sector, and they're in front of their computers all day. So he said they all need Lord Ganeshan. Okay, they all respect him and they all worship him. He said, but I want an iPad dock at the back. Okay? So we actually put an iPad dock on the back. If you can look at the image on the right hand side, you can see an iPad dock at the back. And then we printed it. And that's how it came. This actually took about 8 hours to print because of the task and the level of details on this. And if you move forward, okay. So that's a story about how we put an iPad dock on Lord Ganeshan and gave it out. These are all different products that I just want to show. You can keep moving. So these are products that you can do. These are about 6 inches by 9 inches length and width. This is another interesting story. This came to us from a gentleman who's making an unmanned aerial aircraft, and that's my beginning of working with Air Force as well, where they wanted to create mounts to put onto their motors, and they were spending a fortune on getting it done using metal. And they were going wrong. They were going 1 millimeter, they were going wrong. About half a millimeter, they were getting it wrong. So they said, can I do prototypes with you in plastic until you get it right? So you can see this. This is a very memorable moment for me because, and I was so proud of this mount that I made. Took it to them, and they just put the motor in, and the thing cracked. Okay, I felt like an idiot. But when that happened, he just tapped me on the back. He said, "Nisanga, this is exactly what I wanted." He said, "The fact that it cracked now is better than it cracking about 1,000 feet above the ground." Okay, so that was great. Idea of what prototyping means and what it can do. So he printed a couple of times. He wanted to try different angles and different strengths, and we finally printed it, and it perfectly fitted into the motor. And now we got it done from metal. So the entire purpose of prototyping is you can try it as many times at a fraction of the cost, and then finally get your product done 100% right. Okay, right. These are other parts that he got done for his different aircrafts that he's building. This is the architectural model. This is the hospital opened in Jaffna recently by our friend and colleague Navi Subinathan and Sanidha Nambur. And obviously together with Sri Lanka, where they opened this fantastic hospital in Jaffna. So this prototype shows the very first visual of how the 3D or how the building would come. And they looked at this and they made little tweaks here and there. Okay, so it is fantastic to be part of that, story. Okay. This is the jewelry design that came by SMS. So she's a Scottish lady, and she said, I want it at this measurement and that measurement, and she got it done like this. And finally, she actually dipped it into silver, and now these pieces are existing in silver. So she gets a lot of prototypes done. So girls and boys, you can actually think of so many things now, and you can actually start creating prototypes. This is another metal piece that went to the Netherlands Railway. And I was very proud to be part of that project as well. and it's all about creating prototypes, and for them it was a fraction of a cost than to get it from Europe. So those orders are coming to Sri Lanka as well. This is another casting project. Yeah. So this is what I'm really, really passionate about. I want to share this with all of you. Okay, go on. Okay, so this object came to us. I was like, what in the world is this? Okay, who's going to drink off a bottle that looks like this? So I thought it was a mango first, but apparently it's stomach. Okay, so this actually is going for pharmaceutical, and they want to market this product. And they wanted about 100 pieces. All the companies, molding companies, injection molding companies said, sorry, we can't do 100. Either you order 5,000 pieces. So they were like, we don't want 5,000 pieces, we actually don't even know if you want it. So they want to prototype it. So they came to me and we did this. And this took us on a very, very important journey in our company, which is we did the prototype, and then we did a mold for it using 3D print. Okay, so this is a mold done from our team using aluminium casting, and we were able to give them 100 bottles. Okay, now for the first time, we just opened up a massive gap. Okay, which was companies like cosmetics, even consumer products, FMCGs, who wanted to try or market just 100, see how it looks like we are doing soap trays now, different types of soap trays, we are doing different types of bottles, and you're able to 3D print it, cast it, mold it, inject mold it, and do it at about 1/20th of the cost that people used to charge them at. Okay, so I'm very proud of that. And what we did was, from a small bottle, they were so happy they went to a 25 centimeter big bottle. This is just the first product that came out of the injection mold. And now they will launch a product like this, a larger bottle. Okay, so I hope you understand what this means. You could technically imagine, wait a minute, the girls at Bishops College would love to drink something from the canteen which is in the shape of a strawberry, which might be strawberry juice. Wait a minute, let's print a strawberry, let's inject mold it, and let's make a little bottle like strawberry. I don't know, maybe I'm not in that market, right? But or create other types of different products. For example, let's say the kids like to have mango juice, why not have a bottle in the shape of a mango? Why not have a bottle in the shape of something else? So you can actually create whatever you want and make a consumer-ready product using these techniques, which are very, very affordable. The other thing I want to talk about is this. This is actually, I'm very passionate about this. This is 54 3D printed parts put together for a hand. This girl, which I get quite emotional when I talk about this, because this girl came up to us. She's 9 years old. Her name is Anuchi. She's actually goes to Bishops College, and she wanted, not her parents wanted her to have a hand because she doesn't have fingers. So we got this design from South Africa, and we actually printed it so that she has function. For the first time, if she actually moves the wrist up and down, which is fitted onto these two bridges, I hope everybody can see that, two bridges here, she can actually get finger movement. I hope everybody can see that. Okay, that she actually gets finger movement and she can grip something for the first time. So this is our first step in going down a prosthetics journey. It's available online, and we've been speaking to companies like MakerBot, RoboHand to give us assistance, and they've been sending us schematics and drawings. And we're very proud of this. So this is just the start of it, but I have to share it with all of you, just to show you that 3D printing is not about printing a span, like the videos will show. It's not about printing something static. You can actually do some great things with it, and that's what I want to share with you. Okay. So this is the mold that was actually made using a 3D print to give you this. Okay. All right. So what else can you print? You can print basically everything, and you can move on. You can actually print something and cast it in metal. We have the process. You can print toys, so you can actually print an elephant or whatever, and then put it together in rubber, so you can actually make it out of purple or yellow or whatever color that you want. You can actually make inner linings. So right now we work with some companies on linings for winter boots. So we actually create a 3D print of a leg, and then after that you make a cast out of it, and then you put something like coconut husk, and you make a lining out of it, so that would go into Ugg boots and winter boots. Definitely not high heels, you wouldn't need an inner lining on high heels. And then obviously things like coffee cups. So we operate in doing 3D printing as general services. We sell machines to companies and individuals who want to have that as a facility. And also we provide R&D labs to bigger companies with hand-holding services. Yeah. And this is just a description of the types of machines. So if you can just load it up to all 4th generations. So right now in Sri Lanka we have up to 3rd gen, where we have very advanced machinery. We started off with 1st gen. But all it does is it shows you the size of the build that you can go up to, the complexities, that is the layering. The thinner the layer, the more accurate it is, and also the colors that you can operate with. Obviously the 4th gen machines are not available in Sri Lanka, and very expensive machines. But there's a lot that we can do, so I hope we've kickstarted the journey that you can take forward. We are contactable through Facebook. So we are 3D Concept Studio SL on Facebook. We have over 1 million fans that we reach globally, and just about 22,000 plus likes that is coming in. We also have all this plastic that we're printing with. We have a partner in India who takes that plastic and they recycle it, and they give us filaments again. So it's ethical printing and CSR initiative, so that we don't have too much of plastic waste. Okay. This is just a picture of it, of ethical printing, yeah. And so that's us, and you can always contact us, and I'm open to a lot of questions. Even at this point, I think we have a Q&A session. Hopefully we'll have time for that, but we'll just... Do you want to the Q&A session now? So we will leave that to a later time after the session. But I would like to thank all of you for bearing to listen to the entire 3D printing story. But I hope you guys will come and ask me a lot of questions afterwards. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Hopefully you get to see that printout in a little bit. Anyhow, moving on. As Stanford graduate students, Larry Page and Sergey Brin started what's now known as Google in a garage in California in September 1998. Soon, the project was interfering with their schoolwork, so they tried to sell it to Excite for $1 million. However, Excite rejected the offer, and now Google is one of the most trafficked sites in the world. In 1976, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, aged 21 and 26 respectively, started Apple Computers by selling 50 units of Wozniak's Apple I computer at $500 apiece to a local retailer. Jobs took the purchase order to a parts distributor and ordered the parts. The Steves and their small team hand-built 50 computers in 30 days from a garage in Cupertino, California. Today, Apple is the most valuable technology company in the world. To talk a bit more about this subject, we now kindly invite Mr. Siddhartha Nanayakkara to speak a few words about entrepreneurship in the field of technology.
Because I'm not usually very used to be sitting into confined into a particular place, so I won't run here and there. So anyway, I'm actually honored to be here for the ICT day from St. Thomas's and Bishops College. So I'll take you around my presentation. I've done a very brief presentation to talk about entrepreneurship and how you guys could actually bring on your own startups. Okay, so first of all, thank you Bishops and thank you St. Thomas's for this opportunity given, and I'm really proud because I see some of my students organizing this event, okay, because I myself have been a teacher a couple of years ago and I'm still lecturing. So I'm really happy to see some of you guys now prospering into leadership events such as this. My presentation. okay, until I get my fantastic presentation here. How many of y'all are actually doing startup businesses already, or how many of y'all are maintaining your own blogs? I saw some of the school students taking photographs. How many of y'all have your own fan pages? Okay, okay, one hand. Only one? Two, okay. Three, there's a girl up there, okay. Lonely girl, okay, cool. Okay, what are you guys on to? Are you all into photography, or are you all having your little software development houses, or what are you guys into? Guys, I need noise, you know. I need noise. I can't bear when people are decently sitting down. It doesn't work with me because I was really known to be decent, so you know. What are you guys doing? Those people who put their hands up? Music, okay, cool. So that's the thing, okay, so we could actually start businesses from anywhere. Okay, so while I take you through my presentation, the little short one of just 5 to 6 slides, I'll tell you how you could actually put them into, operations or materialize them. Okay, so I came out with this catchy topic. Please be patient, guys. Patience is very important in modern day, especially with young people. Okay, so I'm going to talk for about 15 minutes about startups, trends, okay, and how do we think in terms of an entrepreneurial mindset. Okay, now how many of you guys know the idea behind entrepreneurial mindset? Now Nisanga came and spoke about his company. How many of you all know what is this entrepreneurial mindset? I told you guys, no decency here, please. Huh? I know your teachers are here and you have to act very good, but it's okay. How many of you know about entrepreneurial mindsets? No? Never? How many of you are commerce students? Teachers, you should go back and shoot them because they're just useless. Okay, they have not learned about entrepreneurial mindsets. Okay, so if you have not learned, I'm going to teach you how it's going to be like. Okay, so, okay, so before we tap upon the global dynamics, or before going into the details, I will give you an overview of why is this important and why am I talking about entrepreneurship in an IT conference. Okay, so just to recap with you about the global dynamics. Okay, I don't know if you already knew this, but if you take the Crescent United Nations statistics across the world, half of the world right now are below the age of 25. Did you know that? Okay. So according to the United Nations report published during the CHOGM, okay, they said that half of the world is below the age of 25. So the world has never been younger. So all of that includes you guys, and I'm just about to be excluded and kicked out from here. So, and then we have this very bulk of people accounting to about 1.8 billion. And what more? 87% of this is living in developing countries or emerging markets. Okay, emerging markets is another term, guys, we use for developing countries because we don't want to say developing countries, it sounds very stupid. Okay, so we want to actually say developing markets or emerging markets. And sadly, okay, 2/3 of these people are actually either underutilized or have poor access to resources. Okay, so you're talking about almost 1 billion people, okay, who don't have access to proper resources, unlike you guys, lucky fellows. Okay, and by 2020, we are going to have a lack of 200 million jobs. That's my chorus, guys. Okay, so I'm going to have a lack of 200 million jobs. Okay, so now you see, okay, 200 million jobs will definitely include most of you guys in that. Okay, and this is basically why your teachers are working hard to push you guys to start your own businesses, understand better, and get you guys passed from your O-levels and A-levels. Okay. Now, let me talk about this entrepreneurial mindset. So what is this entrepreneur? Who is this entrepreneur? Okay. So now generally, an entrepreneur, typical example would be Nisanga, who actually came just a few minutes before me. This is where, guys, we actually have an idea generation. Okay. Now, if you talk to organizations like Google, okay, I'm one of the fans of people like Richard Branson and Larry Page, who I met personally. And I've interviewed them in a couple of areas. Actually, if you Google, you'll find my blogs which are written about my personal interviews with Larry Page and Richard Branson. So something that we actually find during these discussions were, guys, these are the crazy ideas. Okay, all of them had crazy ideas. They were not people who had, ideas that actually one could define by statistics or one could define by, mathematics. Okay, they actually came out with crazy ideas. Okay, which sounded really dumb. Okay, and they actually materialized that to be a realistic thing. How many of you all know the history of Google? Google? I heard that Rohan was here, our Google country consultant. Is he here? No? Okay, Rohan is not here. Okay. So, how did Google start? No one has studied about how Google started. You all use Google, see? No respect to the founders. Huh? So Google actually came out of a PhD project, guys. If you go back and see, okay, it came from a PhD project. Okay, it came out from basic research. Okay, all the elements that Google is using today were already existing, but it's about bringing them together. So first point is, okay, generating crazy ideas. Okay, and this in today's era generally does not happen alone. We need a number of people. That's why you guys are made to work in clusters. And I heard from the subordinate that St. Thomas's has actually started on this. Okay, where they actually do websites and web pages at a little bit of a fee for certain groups internally or externally. Okay, so this is something you should actually start. Okay, then research and development, guys. I actually would like to invite most of you guys because now this research and development innovation, okay, we have a lot of funding. I personally work on a number of projects with His Excellency the President, and we have a lot of funding for schools to do research on their own. Okay, but unfortunately, every fund that we get on the 1st of January, we send it back on the 31st of December because no school wants to take those fundings. Okay, because no one knows about it. Okay, so I actually invite and encourage the teachers right sitting in front, okay, to get your students to actually work for these projects because you see, as Professor correctly mentioned, now Morato University does these incubator programs. Okay, I'll talk about what these incubator programs are later on. Okay, students, you all don't have any problem, of starting a business when you're 10-year-old or 11-year-old or 13-year-old. In fact, the St. Thomas's president was one of my sweet students. Okay, now he is the president of the IT Society. Okay, and he came to my class if I remember right when he was 15, and it was an undergraduate class to study the British Computer Society professional exams. Okay, so these are like young people who start early. So I encourage all of you guys to go into this. So taking you down here, I want to highlight this technologically driven factor. Okay, now we do talk about entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurship is not all about IT. Okay, but half of today's businesses, if you look into a lot of World Bank statistics, you see more than half, almost about 63% of the businesses, okay, are technologically either driven or implications of technology is more than 80%. So all of you passionate little kids and wizards who are into IT, you all better start looking into opportunities. If you can't find opportunity, go up to a bigger company, okay, and start thinking differently. Again, you will definitely find your gap. Okay, now, trends in emerging markets. This is my topic, okay? Now, because I was told to actually talk about entrepreneurship and about wearable devices, okay? So, here, now, if you look at Sri Lanka, okay, we fall into emerging markets, and any of you knew that we were known as the 16th best country for outsourcing? Any of you knew that? No? Ah, okay. I thought school was about knowledge. Because when I went to school, of course, oh God, teachers were pulling from the ear and from the trouser and from the head and that and this. just trying to feed you with all sorts of knowledge. But I think now the teachers are really good, no? Okay, so again, at least the teachers today are quite decent and nice. Our teachers used to harass us, you know? Okay, I think that's also the result why, you know, we are talking crazy today. Okay, so we are in the 16th position, guys. So we have a lot of opportunity. Okay, now if you go back, I actually again suggest all the teachers take these students back to the BOI. Make them look at the projects that are available. There is no restriction of age. Okay, make them have a look at the projects that are available. If you see there are a lot of outsourcing jobs, a lot of outsourcing projects and investment that has come to Sri Lanka where we can actually take them. Okay, there is no problem. You know, if St. Thomas's wants to start off with a BPO company headed by students, okay, there is no problem. Okay, the school can operate it and the students can share the profits. Okay, so, and something that we are really happy to see is, again, most of the Sri Lankan companies, I come from John Keel's group, which is Sri Lanka's largest listed company. Okay, so we have a lot of IT arms. We have 12 companies related to IT. Okay, so we are also shifting from traditional legacy development, okay, into m-commerce. Now, those days e-commerce, you know what e-commerce is, all about electronic commerce. But we are also moving to mobile commerce. How many of you all any interested people in aviation? Airlines? Okay, 1, 2, those are going up, huh? More than a business airlines, I guess because of the cabin crew, am I right? No? Okay, cool. Okay. Now, at John Keel's, we do airline businesses, or we do business systems, or mission critical systems for airlines. Okay. So, how many of you all have actually been flying on airplanes? Okay, good. Okay. See, the privileged ones, you guys are. Okay. Now, in an airplane, okay, after the final wheel takes off from the ground, okay, until the first wheel touches on the floor, okay, the control of the airplane needs to be balanced by something called the weight and balance. Okay, and we do this system called the weight and balance system. Okay, this is where when you go on air, okay, if you have experience, suddenly you go and you are drinking coffee and the plane goes down. Okay, and then shoot the cabin crew because now you are not drinking coffee, you are bathing on coffee. Okay, so all of these things are predicted through something called a weight and balance system. This is the control of an aircraft, guys. Okay, and I would actually offer to our St. Thomas's and Bishops College. Now, if there are any passionate people, okay, who are really interested in going and pursuing a good career in IT, into software development, etc., bring them on to Keel's. Okay, we'll show you a simulator of how this could actually be working and how it really works and how you could actually get involved in this, because we have a lot of students, okay, coming in from different countries, because we are, out of the Europe and the US, the only company in the world that does weight and balance systems. Okay, so because of that, if anyone wants from Africa, anyone wants from China, anyone wants from Australia, they come to Sri Lanka to visit us. So we have a lot of university students coming and having a look at what we have been doing. Okay, so I invite the teachers as well as the two presidents of the two IT societies to bring those ones who are actually keen. Okay, but we don't have cabin crew members for your information. Okay. So, looking at the trends or the predictions, what we are looking at 2014, I was very happy to see the IT Day had actually selected the theme or the area of wearable technologies, and I'm sure in a little while you'll also see the Google glasses. Okay, so wearables in 2014 are going to be quite a hot topic. Okay, so you will see smartwatches. If you can just go to the next slide for a minute. Okay. I don't know if you see that little 1235, that little watch that you see. Do you see that? Yeah? Again, I'm not too sure if it's very clear. Okay, it's called Pebble. What it has been doing is, it's actually a Kickstarter project. How many of you all have heard of Kickstarter? Kickstarter is something actually schools can actually get involved, and IT teachers get your students registered with Kickstarter. It's an incubator program, okay, that allows students to go wild with research, okay, into technological areas. So this was one of those projects, okay. This is actually a portable mobile, a portable watch, okay, everything, okay. and eco-friendly. It's a e-pen device. I will actually show you one. I have told one of my colleagues to bring one of those devices and come now. Okay, so I'll hand it over to St. Thomas's so that you can have a look at it because you will be suspended from school afterwards. Okay, so how many of you all today have access to people, okay, that you never knew in your life? You don't even know. If you go and ask your geography teacher doesn't know where that country is even. Okay, but you have been chatting, you have been exchanging pictures, okay, sometimes into relationships, but don't share photographs, okay, all that sort of thing has already happened, yeah? Yeah? Huh? Now looking around, now you can't accept the fact as well, okay, so privacy is very important, but within your own limits, you need to know how to work around it, okay, so this is the opportunity that you have. You will not believe, guys, okay, I have personally never gone to a single interview. I've never been interviewed. And today if someone wants to interview me for a job, I'll tell them, you know what, right? Okay, so afterwards, what actually happened was all these connections actually came through LinkedIn. Any of the assignments that I do, any of the jobs that I have been doing, everything is a social media connection, guys. Nothing to do with submitting applications. So if this is where we are now, this is definitely going to be your hardcore method to get your jobs done. Okay, I'm telling you personally, when we apply for jobs at John Keels, okay, this is not recorded. Okay, so we have a lot of peer or buddy rewards that we give for people. Okay, that if you could recommend a person. Okay, if you could recommend a person or if you know a person, then you could tell us and we would be able to hire them. Then actually the applications that come from topjobs.lk or the newspapers. Okay, so your network is very important. So use social media, not only Facebook. Again, guys, one thing I would actually like to add for the note that Professor made is, a lot of you all misuse Facebook. Yeah? What you all are looking at is, someone's pictures, that one is in that party here, for all the gossiping stuff. But you should actually look at where you can learn from these things. Okay, if you go back to social media, you're only using Facebook, but I really suggest that you guys also move into things like LinkedIn. Okay, these are knowledge hubs. You could actually read a lot of things. Okay, you could understand a lot of things. And as school students, you could network with other schools all around the world. Because I've done a couple of consultant projects to schools, and today those schools actually network with those schools in the US, to Australia, okay, and they have student exchange programs. So you should actually start doing all that. When we come from an island, okay, like Sri Lanka, okay, we don't call this island anymore. President says it's a paradise, so we say it's a paradise. Okay, but according to geography or English, when you say it's island, okay, surrounded by sea, okay, we have this thing called island syndrome. Any of you all know about island syndrome? Nah? Okay, island syndrome is, guys, okay, it's a well-spoken thing. Island syndrome is when you're born in Ireland, we think that this is the only part of the world and nothing beyond the sea. Even if you go outside to another country, you believe it's Sri Lanka and nothing beyond Sri Lanka. So the exposure, the experience, okay, the knowledge that you have out there, you're not willing to accept it, okay, or you're not willing to take it in, okay. So lady, what you see, the lady running with the similar device as Google Glasses. This is research that's been done by Cisco. You will see this, it's a very similar product to Google Glasses, okay, but not as complicated as Google Glasses. This is only for entertainment. We'll hopefully be able to show you what this is later on. Now, you must be thinking, oh my god, this lazy little creep is coming and talking about entrepreneurship. How do I start a business? Or where do I start? Or how do I get money? Okay, he's talking about entrepreneurship and encouraging in schools to start, entrepreneurship, but where do I get money? Guys, trust me, I run my own business. I didn't have a cent. I had a cent. That is to bring my business cards. Okay, so you don't need to have a lot of capital. Okay, I don't believe in people who talk about millions and billions. And I'll share with you some case studies of my own friends. And I think, as correctly Professor mentioned, Dr. Sanjeevan, okay, actually, who started WSO2. Okay, they are not people who started with billions of dollars, guys. Okay, these are people who started very small. Okay, and grew big because they believed in the idea. Okay, so when it comes to funding, okay, a lot of our companies, a lot of our Sri Lankans have the opportunity for social entrepreneurship. What is meant by social entrepreneurship? I'm suspecting. Are you all sure you all are going to school? There are two factors I'm very concerned about. One thing, when I ask how many commerce students, all of you are going in school, definitely we hoot and laugh. Okay, but I'm very sure that you all are the most decent crowd that I've ever met. Okay, so I think maybe because your subordinate is sitting right in front, others will see you at office tomorrow. Is it? Maybe. Okay, so social entrepreneurship is something to do with resolving a social cause or a social issue. Okay, people think that this doesn't bring in money. This brings in a lot of money. Okay, if you went down to Mirissa, you have whale watching businesses that are actually being done. You know, have any of you all gone to Mirissa to do whale watching? Okay, today if you go in on the 1st of January, they launched this electronic system, guys. Okay, they scan the water and they tell you exactly where the whale is. They say what the whale is trying to communicate by identifying sounds, through something called a log IT lab platform. Okay, and it tells you all the movements. So you don't see the whale jumping from the back. Okay, and when you turn back, the whale is already gone. Okay, you know exactly where the whale is coming from and all that about information about the whale, about so many things. Everything is documented using a technology platform. Okay, so you have that. Then hybrid funding, entrepreneurship or hybrid funding, guys, is another mechanism where different companies or governments actually give you an initial cap. Okay, and after the initial cap, you need to start your own, investment. Okay, and then we have crowdfunding. Okay, this is where this is very popular in China, where little people, small people, make small contributions and collectively they have a. Okay, so they have in collective. They have a lot of funding coming when they collect like $1,000 a person into 10,000 people or 5,000 people. You have a lot of money. Okay, and then you have angel investors, investments. Guys, personally, me, I don't believe because they are not angels. Okay, so because they expect a lot of revenue for you to come. And for you to give them back as well. So if you all are really looking at businesses and if you all have really no option, then go for angel investment. But if not, please don't. Okay. So something to talk about security and protecting your idea. Have any of you all heard of transparency reports? Have any of you all heard of transparency reports? How many of you all are doing ICT here? Okay. Go home today. Okay, and go on to Google. And type Facebook transparency report and Google transparency report. Okay, you would actually see. I would have actually showed you if you hadn't mentioned it, but it's good. Okay. This is a very important report, guys. Okay, if the government, let's say for example, our government has actually made a request, for Google to disclose some accounts. Now, people always say that they read our emails and all that. Okay, but if you have, as a government or as a security enforcement body, made a request from Google to show your emails or to take down a site or take down a video, this Google transparency report actually shows each one of them. They show you who made the request, why did they make the request, what did Google do, and their request as well. Okay, so you see who has signed the request or who has given the request. Everything is there, guys. Have a look at this. This is quite interesting. So don't fear about networking online and sharing your ideas. Now, when I say that, don't do it just exorbitantly by going and putting Facebook statuses. No one cares about it. Okay. So protect it, communicate it very safely. Okay. And today, guys, even in the software market for us, okay, we don't like to show software because people are going to rob our idea. Guys, even if you hide it, people are going to know it someday. Okay, so don't waste time by trying to understand or trying to protect your idea too much because you're not going to get anything out of it. Okay, and this incubator program. Subordinate, I actually made a kind request from the schools. Okay, to get these incubator programs to schools as well. Okay, this is where the industry, these moratorium universities at the moment practicing it. Okay, because a lot of these students have the ability to start their own businesses when they're in school. As you correctly said, now they do little projects and get a little fee. This could be enhanced, and this is, guys, I'll tell you something very important. Okay, Oxford University, Cambridge, Kellogg's. Okay, these universities are not because of the universities themselves. These are because of the products that they have created. Okay. Trust me, guys, when I'm at John Keels, we have so many people from Royal College. Okay? We have so many board of directors from Royal College. Okay, and something that people think of in this country is that these top ranked schools, okay, which includes definitely St. Thomas's, okay, is because of their school or their establishment on its own. Guys, that's only a contribution. But it's you guys who go into the market and who perform, who do these events, okay, that actually perform and people think, oh wow, the school is doing something. That's the support voice. Okay. So I actually suggested and I actually want more and more incubator programs to actually be implemented in schools. Okay, the two presidents, I don't know the Bishops College president. Okay, you also the other schools can actually also have a look at. There is something called youth cities. Okay, there is something called youth cities. This is funded by Richard Branson. I'm sure half of you all know Richard Branson. Okay, so they have a lot of funding, and they come into schools and they bring in the best of the breed people, telling how to start new businesses. Especially this is only for technology, guys. This is not for any other area. Okay, how to start new businesses. They give you the investments, and they don't expect anything out of you, just other than you starting the business itself. Okay, so half of you all have a look at this. Okay, so local case studies of this. I'm sure you have known all of these brands. Okay, now if you look at Capricorn, okay, WSO2 actually Professor captured it, so I'm going to skip it. Okay, are any of you all aware that WSO2 provides a backbone solution to eBay? It's a major contribution to the eBay's backbone solution. Any idea? You know all know eBay? Okay, so eBay has its own, it's not a TPS, it's not a transaction processing system, but it has its main mission critical system that runs behind it, and majority of its contribution or its platform, okay, is provided by an open source element that is extended by WSO2, which is a Sri Lankan company. So every product that you are actually buying from eBay, okay, you will actually be running on open source platform done by a Sri Lankan company. Okay, so look at the Sri Lankans. Okay, look at Capricorn, anything.lk. These are businesses, guys, that they didn't even have a clue of where to start. Okay, and they had a little idea and they started researching about these ideas. E-marketing eye. Anyone heard of e-marketing eye? No? Okay, I'll just take 2 minutes to tell you about e-marketing eye. In 2009, e-marketing eye came to John Kear's to pitch for the hotel websites. Okay, and the John Kear's vice president at the time said, "Oh my God, you guys are like Sri Lankan little people. Okay, we don't want to hire you, or we don't want to take you because they didn't have a credible source." Okay,
literally, all are climbing up for the finals.
And today, okay, when we go to e-marketing eye and tell them, you know what, we want our websites and optimization and all that done from you all, they say, no, we don't do Sri Lankan companies. Okay. So this is where e-marketing eye is, guys. Have a look at e-marketing eye. E-marketing eye covers almost every hotel in Asia Pacific. Okay. It is done by a 27-year-old little boy. Okay. Who started the company when he was 22 in his mother's bedroom or father's bedroom, like Nisanga said. Okay. And this is where I grew within 5 years. Okay. So technology, the best thing is, guys, you can actually grow faster. Okay. Because with technology, okay, unlike any other business, now if you have to have a restaurant or an institute, it takes years for you to develop. Okay. But in terms of technology, guys, it is not. It's a multiplier effect. Today, I go and open a fan page, sharing pictures of something, of an event or something. You will go and tag your friends. Your friends will go and tag their friends, and their friends. In no time, you will have 20 million people. Sorry, 20,000 people. Okay? 20,000 people in your fan page. And then you can start actually selling your products through that. Okay? So you don't have to market for a separate customer base. Okay? So think of these areas. Okay? Find My Fair, I'm sure you know very recently, they had a lot of offers. Find My Fair is a local vendor who does airport travel, okay, and ticketing. Okay? Very recently, guys, Find My Fair had a concern because Emirates used to sell a Colombo Dubai ticket at 55,000 and Find My Fair gives it at 30,000. Okay, it is below the airline cost. Okay, and what happened was Emirates Sri Lanka wanted to sue Find My Fair. Okay, for undercutting prices. You know how they do it? Okay, they take this money and they pay Emirates the day that the person is flying. They ban this or they invest this in another business, and let's say you're flying in 3 months. Okay, by the time you fly in 3 months, this investment would have given you much more money. Okay, so they pay the Emirates cost and keep the remaining investment as their profit. If you are really interested how this is being done, okay, this is a very lengthy process. Okay, just note down and go home and Google. It's called dynamic currency conversion. It's a platform for IT people. Okay, it's called dynamic currency conversion, where you actually have this multiply effect in money. It's not black money. It's pure good money. Okay, and if you play the game well, you will have more money. Okay, so have a look at these areas. So yes, so I'm finishing my boring conversation about entrepreneurship. Okay, there's so much to talk about entrepreneurship and how you have different ideas coming in. And for the teachers sitting right in front, I would really encourage, because see, at the end of the day, students, okay, become products of you all. And today when I walked in and when I saw some of the students who walk up and say, sir, do you remember me? I was one of your students. Okay, we felt really happy, okay, because your students are your products, okay. So I would highly encourage you to get them involved, take them to different places, take them to bigger companies, okay, show them the processes, give them the light to grow between these, large companies, so that they will also have little ideas. I'm telling you, coming from Sri Lanka's largest listed company, the largest people have the biggest mistakes, okay. I'm telling you. Okay, the largest people have the biggest mistakes. Okay, students can easily resolve this problem. Okay, because they don't think as complicated as Isaac Newton. Okay, so take them there. Okay, because the more you get educated, the more complicated your thinking. Okay, that's why. Okay, I can't say anything because there's a professor right in front of me. Okay, no, don't get offended. But I'm just saying, not all of them. Okay. But the more you are into theoretical learning, okay, the more complicated you become, because you are thinking in too many different angles. Okay, but simple example I'll tell you. Okay, this is research done by Forbes. Okay, they took in 8 people, if I'm right, and put them into a lift. A lift. Okay, and locked them up for a couple of hours. Okay, after they opened, I think after 6 hours or something, no one knew each other. Why? Because they were busy with their mobiles. If the battery went off, they were sleeping. Okay? But if you go and drop a kid into a park, just go in 10 minutes and say, come Baba, let's go home. They'll say, Amma or Tata, this is my new friend, so and so and so. Yeah? Because kids don't have this complexity. Okay? And it's the same thing when it comes to solving problems. That is why when you start a company at young ages, for people like Larry Page, okay, it has become very easy because they don't care. Okay, they really don't care. I'm not saying don't care. Okay, I'm saying care with care. Okay, so always start looking into new areas, guys. Looking into new opportunities. Okay, everything is provided for you guys, and I'll be around here after you finish your conference. If you want to talk about any particular idea that you all have precisely, or any crazy wild idea, just talk to me. And also your teachers are here. My teachers are here, you can drop an email, okay, or give me a ring and ask, how to do it. Because start doing this now. There is no tomorrow. Live today as if you will die tomorrow. Okay? Good luck, guys.
Thank you, sir. Before we move on to the grand finale of Informatique 14, sit back and enjoy a brilliant performance by a group of very talented Bishopians. We'll be having another entertainment set before we move on to the quiz. Thank you.
I can make it just for me. At this night, it was meant to be. I'm joining all the dots with the freckles on your cheeks. It all makes sense to me. I know you never loved the crinkles by your eyes, the smile you never loved, the stomach on your thighs, the dimples in your back. At the bottom of your spine, love them endlessly. I won't let these little things slip out of my mouth. 'Cause it's true, it's you, it's you. They add up to, and I'm in love with you. And all your little things, you can go to bed without a cup of tea. Maybe that's the reason that you talk in your sleep. And all those conversations are the secrets that I keep. It makes no sense to me. I know you never lied. The sound of your voice on tape. You never want to know how much you weigh. You still have to squeeze into your jeans, but you're perfect to me. I won't let these little things slip out of my mouth. 'Cause it's true, it's you, it's you. They add up to, and I'm in love with you. And all your little things. All your little things, I won't let these little things slip out of my mouth. 'Cause it's true, it's you, it's you that I do when I'm in love with you. And all your little things. What day is it? Can't you mind this life never seems so bright? I can't keep out, I can't find time, I'm losing so much time. 'Cause it's you and me and all other people with nothing to do, nothing to lose. And it's you and me and all other people, and I don't know why I can't keep my eyes on you. What are things I just wanna say, but you just aren't coming around. I'm dripping away, I got my head spinning, I don't know where to go from here. 'Cause it's you, me, and all other people, and nothing to do, nothing to lose. And it's you, me,
Due to time constraints, we are moving on to the next item before we have the quiz. What we have in store for you next is not something we're actually going to tell you much about. We will let our next speaker, Mr. Unmanned, who we invite on stage now, to share his valuable knowledge with us with regard to our next item. Thank you.
Hi guys, how's the evening going on now? Okay, so I hear that it's going as a boring one. So maybe this may interest you, but this is going to be a small session because I think the schedule has been changed because actually my session is at 3:45 by 4 o'clock, and actually we have to return to the office. So I have asked them to put the session a bit earlier. Sorry for the problems caused, but I think this event will be entertaining you. So guys, we are going to see about a device called Google Glass. I think, how many of you have already heard about it? Okay, that's great. So this is Google Glass. So there's some information that I have to tell before we are going into the slide and see what is Google Glass. So the first one is Google Glass is still not available for the public, for the general public yet, but we still got it. And another thing is that they were being provided in a program called Glass Explorers. So what they were trying to do is, Google is giving these glasses out to some selected people only, and it's been given inside only USA and some states only. So what they were trying to do is giving it to the people and saying how they are using it and how they can modify it, and it's like they were studying to give a good release when they actually release it this year. So still the date is unknown, but it's going to be released. So what else is that this Google Glass, how we got it is through our client. So we are from ExileSoft. I'm a software engineer. Basically, I'm an Android developer working and developing on Android applications. So Google Glass runs Android inside. Actually, Ice Cream Sandwich is running inside Google Glass. So as an Android developer, I got the chance to develop for this device. And so in our case, actually our client who is from overseas, I don't have the privilege to tell the country and all those stuff, is actually classified. So we are given the glasses by them to develop. And we should be proud as Sri Lankans that we are one of the very few people from around the world to develop for Google Glass for the first time. Awesome. Okay, so there is some information that you should know that is actually one of the greatest achievements by Sri Lanka. So basically, what is Google Glass? So it's another wearable technology. So you may have known other technologies like smart watches, like Google Gear. You may have seen that it got released last year, and also you may have seen Smartwatch 1 and 2 by Sony. So those are some smart watches, some smart wearable devices which functions with your phone, paired with your phone. So this is similar that to work this out, you have to pair this with your phone. So actually my device is paired with it now. So when I was showing the demo, you will understand that. And one more thing, guys, at the end of the session, I'll be asking 3 questions, and for the first question, the one who answers will get a chance to try out the glass. Okay, if this seems familiar to you, I think it's kind of not clear that wide area. So, have you seen this prism? You may have had it on your advanced level, or maybe it's also available in OL syllabus. So it's using the technology to reflect the light that is being flashed through the meshing into the eyes. So that's how actually it is working. So using the prism, they are reflecting the light inside your eyes. So it's like when you see it, you will feel like that in about 8 feet in front of you, you see a giant screen, and you see what you are seeing in it's like a screen that's giving you information time to time. Okay, so this is the basic plan of Google Glass with the mic actually. So it's like this is the view it's been shown here. So you can see, I don't know whether you can see it from there. here, but the battery part is actually this part. We have all the battery and all the stuff here. And the speaker, actually that is not a speaker. There's something called a bone-inducer small plastic motor kind of thing. What it does is it generates some kind of a vibration and vibrates the air around it, so it generates sound that can be only heard by the user. So only I can hear the sound. So that is one of the latest inventions being added inside that. Also the CPU. So there's a small board kind of thing here. So that is actually the whole computer. Your whole CPU machine or all the hardware things are inside this small bar. So what they have is a 1.2 dual core processor with 2 GB RAM and 14 GB memory. Actually 16 GB, only 14 GB can be used, just like a normal Android phone. And also this touchpad, this pad can be used as a touchpad that you can swipe forward, you can swipe backward, swipe up and down. It works like the Android or the smartphone screens. Like you can swipe here and there and all the stuff. And you have single tap, double tap and 3 taps at the same time. And also you have camera, that is one of the main features, and it can take photos and videos. So videos can be taken in 720p HD videos. And also you know that this has a prism, that those are some of the main features of Google Glass that is visible when you see it in your hand. And I won't be explaining about the hardware and all those stuff inside, so we'll move on to the next slide. So what it can do? So basically it can do a lot, but in Sri Lanka some of the features cannot be done because we still don't have the highest level of modified Google Map. We still run the older version which supports up to a normal Google navigation. So it's like if you go to US, you will see it's like completely a different Google Map. So that's the only one that supports for the Google Glass. So that's the library that they have inserted, so that when we say OK Glass connection to liberty, it actually does not work. So it says your country is not supported or something like that. So what now I can demonstrate to you is we can take a photo. So simply saying OK Glass, take a photo, will take a photo. And also something like that, record a video, you can record a video, search in Google. And also navigation, that's what I said that it won't be working. And Google Hangout, so you can have video chat with your friends. If you have Google, if you can chat with your friends face to face using the Google Hangout and all the stuff. So these are some of the things that I will be demonstrating in this video. So I will be demonstrating take a photo, record and Google search. Others I don't think I can because I don't think my friends will be in the Hangout at the moment. So there's something called a timeline. That's the way that Google Glass displays everything. So like Facebook with the time, it displays it in a card format like a train. You swipe it and it moves forward with the timeline. It comes in this time order. So if you get a call or if you get an SMS, all will be lined up according to the time order that has come into your phone or to the Google Glass. So some things cannot be done through the Google Glass, like you can't actually have a data SIM inside. So you have to pair with the phone, or if you have Wi-Fi around this place, you can connect to it. So there are more restricted features that most of the things have to be done with is paired to your phone. So all things comes in the timeline format. And the first one is the normal timeline, and second one is from the New York Times. You can subscribe to a lot of services like Facebook or Twitter or something like that. So the New York Times is one of the services that they provide at the moment. All the services are still not there. So some of the leading companies have made Google Glassware. So basically we don't say software here, we say glassware. So it's basically hosted in a server, and we say we subscribe to those services, Google Glassware. So when you subscribe, they push every notification inside your glass. So for example, if Twitter has a Glassware service, we go to the Google Glass and subscribe to it, not installing it. So it's kind of a different thing that they call Glassware. So what happens is somebody tweets with your name, it pushes a card. So it comes inside the timeline and joins in. I can show if I get a card now, we'll see it in the demo. So this is how the card format is something that how the Google Glass shows data to you. And Google's main intention on Google Glass is as a notification tool. It's not a hardware. It's not a heavy duty or heavy kind of heavy workable thing like a phone. It's actually what do you say? You can say it as a substitute or something. So it's like just like if watch or something, you used to see the notification without taking your phone out. So some people think that Google Glass is something. It's like you can do augmented reality and all those stuff. Yeah, it can be done, but I don't say it cannot be, but it drains battery a lot. So you must know that when you wear it here, it's the heat also comes. Like when you take a video, it generates a kind of a high frequency of heat that it actually irritates you. So it cannot be, it's like it always goes to sleep. Like after we use it, about in 2 seconds it goes to sleep, we have to just flip our head to wake it up. So it's basically designed that way to save battery and to reduce the heat. So but when you're playing a game or something, it's going to be, every time it's going to be away. So that's going to generate more heat and it will be something not good for health. And basically when it comes to eyes and ears and all these brain kind of things, with magnetic waves generating through the processing part. So that's how the basic idea of Google, but they still say that with the improvement and all those stuff, they'll be having some improved version of Google Glass coming next, or like coming in the future. And also in England, I think there are some serious case like it's been banned for drivers, even though that there are not a lot of people using it, just 1 or 2, 3 people, but still England government has forced on these kind of things and they have banned, and so that it's been illegal. Do you guys have any questions? Anybody? So if you want to ask, I'll start asking questions. Okay, it seems like nobody had questions, so I'll be asking one question, so one guy can come and try. So at least, okay, the first question is going to be, what's the Android operating system that's running inside the Google Glass? So it's like, okay, you're correct. Google Glass is running on Android Sandwich, but the version is called 4.0.3. It's like it's a specialized ice cream sandwich, specially made for Google Glass. The latest normal ice cream sandwich that has come is 4.0.4. That's the latest one for Android phones. A good experience on Google Glass. You got a gift from Excel Soft also. Yes. And the next question is a common one. What's the chat application that has been bought by Facebook? You. The one in the class. So he also get a t-shirt for the chance to see the class. So actually we are running out of time, so it's... Okay, the next question is going to be, device that's been released by Samsung last year. Correct, Galaxy Gear. Okay guys, so I think you guys enjoyed the session and I'd like to wrap up the session. Thank you guys. That's it.
This final round will consist of 10 questions and each contestant will have to answer all 10 questions. Each question will be given a period of 30 seconds to be answered in. And the contestants will be given 4 lifelines. The first option would be a 50-50 option where the contestant will be given just two answers out of the 4 options to choose from. And the second option will be ask a team member where the contestant will be given the opportunity to ask a member of his own team for the answer. And the contestant will be also given two chances to ask a member of the audience for the answer. Without any hesitation, we'd now like to move on to the first round of questions and we invite the representative from St. Peter's College to answer the first round of questions. Can we please have the other members of the 2 teams also up on stage, please?
Can we also have representatives of Bishops College and Informatique?
First, we'd like to invite please be seated. First, we'd like to invite the representative of St. Peter's College to answer the first round of questions. You have 30 seconds to answer one question. Question number 1. Who is the current CEO of Microsoft? Bill Gates, Steve Ballmer, Satya Nadella, Timothy Cook.
Time starts now. You have 30 seconds.
Excuse me.
Sorry?
First, the school that is the first school will be answering the questions first, and then the second school will be given the opportunity to answer the question.
Steve Ballmer. Would you like to drop the name?
The correct answer is Satya Nadella. Question number 2. What does error 403 of a website means on the internet? Your answer is correct. Question number 3. Give us a moment, please. Question number 3.
Which is the most suitable requirements gathering technique, brackets model, to gather volatile requirements? Option 1, incremental, prototyping, RAD, and waterfall. Question number 4.
Correct answer is prototyping.
What is the tool used in developing reports in .NET applications? Net report, Lotus Notes, Crystal reports, Oracle reports.
Sorry? Your answer is correct. Question number 5. following computer language is used for artificial intelligence? Java, Objective-C, Pascal, or Fortran? Please keep in mind that you also have the 4 options to choose from. Sorry? Your answer is correct. Question number 6. What kid-friendly web directory did Yahoo launch in 1996? Number 1, Yahoo Kids, Yahoo Legal, Junior Yahoo, or Kinder Yahoo? Sorry?
50-50 then.
Sorry? Sorry, the answer is incorrect. The correct answer is Yahoo Legals. Question number 7.
Which year was considered the year of English and IT in Sri Lanka? 2011, 2006, 2009, or 2008? 2000.
Sorry, the answer is incorrect. The correct answer is 2009. Question number 8. Which company recently acquired WhatsApp?
Facebook.
The answer is correct. Question number 9.
What does UML stand for? Universal Memory Locator, Universal Markup Language, Unified Modeling Language, Uniform Memory Location. Ask the audience.
Can we have anybody who knows the answer? Please put your hands up, please.
Unified modeling language.
The answer is correct. Question number 10. What is the software used to drive microprocessor-based system? First answer, firmware, assembly, ASCII interpreter, or machine language. Ask the audience, does anybody know the answer to the question?
Firmware?
Sorry, the answer is incorrect. Thank you, contestant from St. Peter's College. Now we have the contestant from Gayan Wijewickrama College to answer this round of questions. In which year was Google founded? 1998, 2000, 1996, or 1997?
1997.
Sorry, the answer is incorrect. The next question.
Which of the following languages is most suited for structured programs? Data transmission, data flow, data capture, data processing.
Data flow.
Your answer is correct. Moving on.
Which of the following system software does the job of merging records from 2 files into one? Security software, documentation system, networking software, utility program.
Ask a friend.
Sorry?
Ask a friend option.
Ask a team member.
Can we have a member from the team of DSMNI College to answer the question, please?
Documentation system.
Sorry, the answer is incorrect. Question number 4. While running DOS on a PC, which command would be used to duplicate the entire disk? Copy, check disk copy, or type?
Copy.
Sorry, the answer is incorrect. Moving on to question number 5. A report generator is used to data entry, update files, print files on paper, or all of the above.
All of the above.
Sorry, your answer is incorrect.
What is the language used by most of the DBMSs for helping their users to access data? High-level language, query language, OGL, SQL.
SQL.
Question number 7. How many megapixels does a camera of a Google Glass have? 5 megapixels?
Ask a friend.
Sorry?
Ask a friend.
Can we have a member? Sorry, there's only one ask the first option, so you can have any of the other options.
Yeah,
Let's
50
ask the audience.
lifetime and to ask the audience that.
13.
Sorry, the answer is incorrect. The correct answer is 5 megapixels. Question number 8. What could cause chip disk error? No CD installed, bad RAM, incorrect CMOS settings, or total.
Incorrect CMOS settings.
Yes, the answer is correct.
Missing slot carbon non-fuel. Power surges, overheat, EMI, incomplete path for ESD.
Overheat.
Yes, the answer is correct.
Which of the following devices is used to connect two systems, especially if the systems use different protocols?
Gateway.
Gateway, bridge, repeater.
Gateway.
Yes, the answer is correct. We thank you representatives of the two schools and the participants of the two teams for their participation. The results of the final round of the quiz will be announced later, and we kindly request you to go back.
Thank you very much. A round of applause.
In second place, St. Thomas's College, team comprised of Sukit Atulugama, Dinuka Gamphala, and Trevin Sibu. And finally, in first place, DS Sena Nayaka College. The team comprised of Isuru Eduri Singha, Nisal Periya Peruma, Hasham Kannangara, and S. Anjan.
To move on to the winners of Informatique 14. In third place, we have Stafford International School. The team comprised of Nabil Abdulrazak, Philip Waterberg, Felicia Pereira, Nikhil Devana Mahadeva, Farshan Aslam, and Niroshan Arjun. Give them a hand, everybody. Second place, we have DSN Ananda College. The team comprised of Mark Winter, Jamil Kamato, Ahmed Strider, Ashan Kanagar, Shashan Duram Bahala, Rivind Senanayaka, and Isir Edri Singh. last but definitely not least, in first place, St. Peter's College. The team comprised of Dennis Hunter, Philip Williamson, Anthony, Asha Visekara, Kusal Visekara, and Vidushan Jalan. Let's give the winning team a round of applause for their brilliant performance today at Informatique 2014. Congratulations, gentlemen. Now we'd like to call upon the presidents of the ICT societies of St. Thomas's College and Bishops College, Sukit Atlugama and Colonel Jay Chandran, to present the teachers in charge of both schools with our tokens of appreciation. The teachers in charge were Mrs. Vimali Pereira, Mrs. Saranga Blanco, Mrs. Rahima Blanco. To our guest speaker today, Mr. Siddhartha Nanaikar. We have now come to the end of the day's proceedings. We would like to call upon the secretaries of the ICT societies of both schools, being Shala Kader and Dirka Dangampala, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening, distinguished invitees, teachers, and my dear friends. It is our privilege to have been asked to propose the vote of thanks as the secretaries of the ICT societies of St. Thomas's College and Bishops College on this occasion.
Big thank you goes to Professor Sanat Jasena in Thailand to accept the offer to this class this evening despite his busy schedule. He has given us a great inspiration to his presence today.
Our deep sense of appreciation goes out to our guest speaker, Mr. Siddhartha Nanaikar, for his explanation on startups, trends, and entrepreneurial mindset in emerging markets.
We are grateful to Mr. Nisardo Wadikura for demonstrating his expertise on the reading field, Ms. Unmanned and entertaining global class demonstration, and Mr. Gayan Wijewickrama for his huge IT career.
We would like to express our sincere gratitude to the principal of Bishops College, Ms. Shamila Gunathilaka, Warden of St. Thomas's College, Professor Inter D'Souza, Vice Principal of Bishops College, Ms. Shemali Hera, Sub-Warden of St. Thomas's College, Reverend Mark Villimoria, for their unwavering support at all times.
We are also thankful to the teachers in charge of both schools, Ms. Caroline Longo, Ms. Vimali Pereira, and Ms. Rahima Blanco, for their tireless efforts in making this event a reality.
We would also like to convey our hearty thanks to our sponsors, Singer, and also Digit.lk for their generous contributions towards Informatique 14. We also acknowledge the services of the prefects here of Bishops College for the assistance given to us, and also Mr. Tilak Vitanagale and Mr. Fernando and his crew for their enormous cooperation in the organization of this event.
We hope that everybody gathered here enjoyed the event as much as we enjoyed organizing it.
An event like this cannot happen overnight. The wheels start rolling weeks ago. It requires planning and a bird's eye view details. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated colleagues of both schools who knew their job and were result-oriented. We cannot thank everyone enough for their involvement and their willingness to take on the completion of tasks beyond their comfort levels and making Informatique 14 an unforgettable experience.
Finally, we would like to take this opportunity to recognize the efforts of our parents
inform you regarding Band Heroes. It will be held this Saturday from 6 p.m. onwards at the college grounds. Tickets will be available at the entrance of the auditorium. And finally, to end today's proceedings, please rise for the national anthem.